Hello, everyone, and welcome to Judge Foundry's January 1st board meeting, our first board meeting for 2025. I'm here with everybody from the board, Brooke, Rob, Toby, John Bryan, myself, Joe, and Matt is here as our parliamentarian. I wanted to wish everybody Happy New Year's. Hope everybody had some great holidays. I hung out with a bunch of judges. I anticipate a lot of other folks did that too. It's been a great end of the year for me, and I hope it is for everybody else. We have a few things on the agenda today, so let's move forward to the first thing. That's approval of minutes of previous meetings. Brooke has the minutes for October. Has everybody got a chance to look at those? Yes? Okay. Is anyone have a problem approving the minutes that Brooke has for October? No. Okay. Minutes for October are good to go.
Great.
We'll have the minutes for November and this meeting at the next meeting. The next thing on the schedule is the membership update. That's from me. I can tell you that this month we have 1,128 total members. That's 11 up from last month. 9 new affiliate members, 1 new L1, and 1 new L2. And when I say new, I guess I mean net new. There have been some folks that have dropped out. So plus 1 L1, plus 1 L2, plus 9 affiliate members. Next up is the treasurer's report, which is John Bryan.
Yeah, so much like membership, this stayed pretty static last month. Total expenses are about $100, total revenue about $4,000, and that puts our total cash on hand at around $40,000 between what we're running in and liabilities.
Great, thanks, John Bryan. The next thing on the schedule is our Q&A. I'll pass it over to Matt, who asked our Q&A questions.
All right. We have, I think, 4 questions today. So the first one is from Isaac King. Why are there duplicate forums for Judge Foundry? For example, there is both a public tournament operations forum and a Judge Foundry tournament operations forum, etc. Does the board believe that partitioning the judge program off by region such that judges in other countries cannot see the discussions and suggestions of North American judges and vice versa is going to be a positive for the judge program? If not, what legal or other limitation was the cause of this decision, and is there any plan in place to find a workaround?
Yeah, so I can take that one. So there's going to be some forums that are going to be more useful for just Judge Foundry members and some that are going to be more useful for judges all over the world in different programs. One of the big advantages we saw of the regional programs era is the judges whose programs operate primarily not in English can have a full set of forums in their preferred language. For example, the Mexican judge program can have a tournament report forum in Spanish. They can have policy discussions in Spanish. They can have all the forums they want in Spanish. And that's something that the regional programs era does that the old judge program didn't. Separating out the forums can also reduce a lot of the noise. For example, members of UK tournament officials might not care about discussions about our elections. With that all said, I do think there's some value in consolidating to cross-program forums for some topics. When we started this, we were the only program when Judge Apps set up our own forums. Now we've got to a point where there's almost a dozen judge programs, and so there might be room to consolidate. If you've got thoughts, please talk to the Judge Apps folks. It's their house, and while we can make some suggestions, ultimately they make the decisions how the forums there work.
All right. Our second question comes from Brian Prillman. Engagement between judges via projects, online chats, conferences, basically everything except all conversations that happen at events are at an all-time low. What actions is the board undertaking to address this loss of community, and how can others be encouraged to participate?
I can speak to this a little. So the last couple of months, November, December, from American Thanksgiving through New Year's, tend to be the doldrums. I know that I very rarely feel like I get a lot done during this time. So historically, it's always been low participation during during the November, December set of months. Last year was unusual because we had to spin up the organization, but this year it's just the normal. Everybody's busy with holidays. Everybody's busy with family. January, we expect things to pick back up and some stuff to happen. The big pitch for participation is participate more if you want things to happen. The best way to make participation happen is to participate. This isn't targeted at you, Brian. People you do a ton. You chat in a bunch of places. You do a bunch of things. But for everyone who sees this, everybody who's listening, everybody who has the same question, we would love to have you come get stuff done with us. This is your program. I mean, the board does stuff, but ultimately there's 1,000 people. We can't do everything. And there's tons of ways to get involved. There's community grants. There is the talk to your regional advocate to find out local things in your region. We're working on conferences. Brooke has some stuff about that later. And so there's a bunch of ways to get involved, a bunch of things that you can help kick up the activity level. So.
All right, thank you. Brian Clark asks, what is the status of conferences, either in person or digitally?
Thanks for the question. So I'm the subject matter expert on conferences, and I've been working with the project lead, Ward. We have several great applications in the process right now, and we're looking at getting those approved and see what exactly makes sense for supporting them. As we've said before, the form for requesting a conference is on the website. Made it easier to find. So just on judgefoundry.org can request a conference there, either in person or digital, whatever makes sense for you and your area. We have a Zoom account that can host hundreds of judges, and it's there for whoever would like to use it for an approved conference. If you want to host a conference, post about it on Judge Apps. We have funding and other ways to support to help make it happen. Put in an application and let's work to make it happen. Connecting very closely with what Rob was saying about, if you want to see more engagement, it starts with everyone doing something to get engaged. We would love to see more conferences happen in 2025.
All right. For our last question, Daniel Crabtree asks, can each member of the board lay out one goal for Judge Foundry in 2025?
So I'll go first. I'd like to see the number of L2s go up by about 20% this year. One thing we learned from the RCQ survey, which results coming, I promise, not forgotten, just under a pile of other things, is that there are a ton of L1s running RCQ solo. That either means these L1s are ready to move up to L2 and need to find a mentor and test, which we should help with, or that we need to get more L2s out there so folks who aren't ready to run RCQs don't have to because the TO can't find L2. It's probably somewhere in between, but both ways, I think that getting more L2s is something we want to look at doing this year. So I'd like to see that number go up by about 20%.
And I'll take the next. So my goals, I want to actually run the store quarterly. We fell down on this, when I'm illighting, I fell down on this in the last quarter of 2024. I would love to run the store quarterly. Toby and I are getting that turned on today, so it should be turned on right after this board meeting. So get that run quarterly. We have some new products going up in it that we've got ready, and we want to run it open for a month, ship right away. We also want to make the yearly member meeting quite a bit better. I am the person who tried to make that happen last year, and I'm going to work on it again this year. We have a volunteer to do boots in the ground at a different city. We're excited to get that done. I would also like to push for some cool content creation to help that to happen. I've got a plan to work with some existing creators to get some cool Judge Foundry content out there. The objective is good, useful content for judges and players about rules, policy stuff, so that there's public-facing things that have been made by people who are competent to do it. We just want to help them make it happen. So.
I guess I can go next. So I think this is covered by a couple of people, but generally I want to see more engagement with our members, especially with leadership and getting things done within Judge Foundry. We have a lot on our plates. There's stuff that we would love to get people involved with. Our grants program is getting up and running, and that's hopefully going to get some money in the hands of folks to do some cool judge stuff. And I also want to see RAs getting folks in the regions involved with regional conferences, other community objectives. I'm also continuing to focus on panels and making some L4s and L5s. Folks have come a long way in the last 12 months. I think we can certify some folks for L4 and L5. We're certainly not going to get a 20% bump like John Bryan wants for L2s, but I'm hoping for a few this year.
Very similar to what Joe said. I really want to see some conferences happen. I really want to see this. I want to see what the project grants program is able to fund in the judge program. And I really want to, I want to generate a lot more like excitement within the members to be a part of Judge Foundry and be out there doing events.
Similar to the rest of the board, seems like we have a lot of overlap. I would like to see, I think that Judge Foundry could do a better job of communicating about some of the processes we already have, like the conferences form and community project grants. I think there's a lot of judges out there that are not yet aware of the resources we have set up, and I'd like to do a better job of communicating to folks how and where they can ask for support for their cool ideas. And I think that we could do a better job, not just communicating, but like streamlining the process. I know some folks have waited longer than I would like in between submitting submitting a request for a conference and then hearing back for approval. I think we can do better about streamlining that into some of our other processes and make things go a little smoother there.
That is all of our questions for the Q&A this month.
Thanks, Matt. We're going to move on to new business. Our first item of new business is the JudgeCast video contract. I think everyone's had a chance to review that contract. We made some changes. We went back to JudgeCast with those changes, and now there's a new version. We need to approve signing that contract, and I believe that JudgeCast is ready to go with the version that we've talked to. We've agreed to terms. We're just doing the signing part here, and then they'll do the signing part, and then we'll make some content. Does anyone have any commentary about the contract? No discussion? Okay, then all in favor of approving the contract, raise your hand. That's 5 votes for. The contract is approved. Second item of business. Let me open the right thing. It is right here. So it is Resolution 2, which you should have already seen. I'll read it for everybody on the stream. The regional advocate for the Pacific West region has resigned as Judge Foundry certification. This caused a vacancy in the role of regional advocate for that region, and the regional leadership rules state that the board of directors may schedule an election to fill a vacancy in the position of regional advocate. Therefore, we shall have a special election to fill the vacancy in the position of regional advocate for the Pacific West region. The election will be held by ballot without a meeting. The balloting will begin on January 10th, 2025 at noon Pacific and continue for 24 hours. The record date for this election is January 1st, 2025 at 9 p.m. Pacific time, and that the election committee is authorized to spend up to $50 on software and similar purchases to facilitate this election, and that the election committee will make all other determinations regarding the administration of this election. So this resolution, similar to other ones we've had in the past, setting up regional advisor special elections. Does anyone have any commentary on Resolution 2?
So just to restate that timing, because it's a pretty short window to run. Joe, do you want to read again what the?
Yes, I'll just say it again. January 10th, which is according to my calendar, next Friday, not in 2 days, in 9 days, because today's the 1st. That's when the balloting will open, and will be open for 24 hours to everyone in the Pacific West region. And that today is the day that you have to be a member, that you have to be on the voter roll, and that will be pulled at 9 p.m. Pacific time today. So if anyone's taking their L1 exam, do it today if you want to vote.
Related to that, it is already too late for people to change regions that locked a month before the election. And so please don't change your region trying to be a voter. It won't work.
Okay. Any other discussion on Resolution 2? Nope. Okay. Then we will vote. All in favor of adopting Resolution 2, raise your hand. That's 5 votes for, so the resolution is adopted. We will have a special election for the Pacific West Regional Advisor. The next resolution, if I can find it, Resolution 3 is creating a project grant approval committee. I'll read the whole thing. It's kind of long, but I think we can have a discussion afterwards about what this does. So we want to create a standing project grant approval committee. The board of directors will appoint the members of the project grant approval committee promptly after the beginning of the director's term. That a member of the project grant approval committee must be a member of Judge Foundry in good standing and must not be it must not be an affiliate member. That the duties. Oh, 1 second. I got a cat on my keyboard. Changing the resolution. That doesn't help. The duties of the project grant approval committee are to recommend that the board of directors the proposed community projects that should be funded, to create and maintain a process and form for funding requests, to report the approved projects to the board of directors for final approval. That the project grant approval committee may only recommend funding that has been allocated by the board of directors for community projects. That the project grant approval committee may recommend funding for community projects subject to these guidelines. That the proposed project may not simply pay people to volunteer. The proposed project must benefit the judging community. The proposed project must be focused on the United States and Canada. That the lead of the proposed project and the majority of the project's members must be Judge Foundry members in good standing. The proposed project and its members must comply with applicable law and support Judge Foundry's purposes and mission. And the proposed project must comply with other guidelines established by the board of directors. Resolved that the members of the project grant approval committee must comply with the rules established by the member of the board of directors and applicable law. Okay, so that's a lot of stuff. Does anyone want to summarize that? I can, but I know someone else put a lot of effort into this if they want to talk about it.
Yes, just briefly, this it's important to us that there be a committee of people who better represent the diversity of the judge program, which includes judges of all levels, determining the funding here. These sort of set out the rules for that. There's a lot of rules, but it sort of lays down to the ones at the end, which is that projects can't just be paying people to volunteer. They got to be benefit of judges, primarily focused on our service area. You've got to be members of Judge Foundry to benefit from it, and you've got to comply with the law. The committee will make recommendations. The board will approve those recommendations.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense to me. The rules are pretty straightforward. The big one being that we're not in the business of saying someone wants to work for Judge Foundry and make thousands of dollars to do just the judge work. We want to fund projects where people are still volunteering and we're getting more out of it. Does anyone else have any other comments before we vote? Nope. Great. Okay, so we're going to vote on Resolution 3, create project grant approval committee. All in favor of adopting, please raise your hand. That's 5 votes for. So Resolution 3 is adopted. We've created the project grant approval committee. The next thing on our new business is to appoint members of the project grant approval committee. Let me review the rules related to the composition of the committee. There are 5 members of the committee. The board will appoint one of those members the chair. 0 or 1 of the members of the committee may also be member of the board. At the last meeting, I'm reading the wrong thing. So we don't have anyone appointed to this meeting. Are there any nominations for members of this meeting or members of the project grant approval committee?
Joe, real quick, right before you start asking for members
Yep.
or for nominations, you said that that there are 5 members of the committee. That's a different committee. The resolution that the board just approved does not have a number. So however many you appoint is how many you appoint.
Yes, you're correct, Matt. Thanks. So just looking at this again, the board of directors are going to appoint members of the committee. Do we appoint a chair specifically, or do they elect their own chair?
The board should choose one of the members that they appoint to be the chair.
Okay. So yeah, we're taking nominations for both the chair of the committee and members of the committee. If there's anyone who would like to nominate someone.
I would like to nominate Noah Robin as the chair of the committee.
Okay. Noah Rabin is nominated to be a member of the committee. We'll come back and select a chair so we can do these all at once if we can. Does anyone have other nominations?
I mean, I wanted to nominate Brian Perlman and John Good also as members of the committee.
Okay, so Brian Pillman and John Good are also nominated to be members of the committee. Is there anyone else that has nominations? No? Okay. So we're going to vote in favor of all 3 of these at the same time. If we don't like that, then we can go back and vote. But if you're in favor of Noah Rabin, Brian Pillman, John Good being on the Project Grant Approval Committee, please raise your hand. That's 5 votes. That's unanimous. So those 3 members will be the members of the committee. And then Noah Rabin has been nominated to be the chair of the committee. Does anyone have any other commentary on him being the chair or any other nominations?
My only commentary here is that while we just said we're looking to find a more diverse membership, obviously this is a starting point. We'd like to have ultimately up to 7 members, and so if you're interested, especially if you're a level 1, level 2 judge, please do email us board@judgefoundry.org, because we really would like to have at least 2, 3 L1s and L2s in the committee.
Yep. Okay, so I don't hear any other nominations for chair. All in favor of Noah Rabin being the chair of the Project Grant Approval Committee, please raise your hand. That's 5 votes. It's unanimous. Noah Rabin is appointed the chair of the Project Grant Approval Committee. Okay. Our next item of business is to appoint members of the Bylaws Committee. There are 5 members of the Bylaws Committee. That's the correct number this time. The board will appoint one of those members the chair. 1 of those members may also be a member of the board. At the last meeting, we appointed Kyle Rick as the chair and Robert Hendrickson as a member of the committee. We need to appoint 3 more committee members. Are there any other nominations for the Bylaws Committee?
I wanted to nominate Chris H. for the Bylaws Committee.
I think we need to give a full name.
Yeah.
Chris Richardson.
Yeah, Chris Hendrickson.
Okay. Yeah.
Henriksen.
Yeah. Yes, the difficult to pronounce Chris. Okay, so Chris Henriksen is nominated to be a member of the Bylaws Committee. Are there any other nominations?
I'd also like to nominate Rob McKenzie to be on the Bylaws Committee.
Okay, Rob McKenzie is nominated to be on the Bylaws Committee. Do we have any other nominations? Doesn't sound like it. So that's only 2. We'll run the vote on those. It means there's still 1 spot available on the Bylaws Committee. If anyone else is interested, please let us know. Email board@judgefoundry.org. We would love more folks involved. Those in favor of appointing Chris and Rob to be members of the Bylaws Committee, please raise your hand. It's 4 votes for. Is anyone opposed? None opposed, and then Rob abstained from voting. So the vote passes. Chris and Rob are members of the Bylaws Committee. I believe that is all of our new business. And just want to remind everybody that if you're interested in being on the bylaws committee, feel free to reach out to Kyle or any of the members or the board. We're still interested in having at least one additional member. That's it for new business. Next item on the agenda are announcements. The first thing I have there is Brooke has an announcement about the translations project.
Yeah, just an update. So we are interested in getting our L1 test translated into both Spanish and French, the most commonly spoken languages in our service area besides English. We've had some back and forth both within the board and with the good folks at Judge Apps, and have, I think, landed on the best way to move forward. Things are now in development and are actually going to begin pushing forward. So hopefully that will get going in earnest in the next week or two. And if anyone is bilingual and is interested in helping out, we could absolutely use a couple more people for both Spanish and French translation. As John Bryan said previously, this is we would love to have folks of all levels involved here. This is a great opportunity for everyone, for people of all levels to get involved and helping out with making things better for judges everywhere. So regardless of level, if you're interested, please reach out. We would love to have you involved.
Thanks, Brooke. Next on the list is I have an announcement about maintenance. As Judge Foundry members will know, we do maintenance every year, and that maintenance is due by March 31st. That's a little bit less than 3 months away now, so we're going to start working on that process. I've already engaged with Judge Apps and gotten some new features for checklists in Judge Apps to do maintenance. Obviously, the holidays have slowed this down over the last couple of weeks, but I'm expecting to get some testing done this week and have an announcement about how to affirm your maintenance has been done in the next couple of weeks, certainly by the end of the month. And then you'll have a couple months to get that in there, and we'll send out a bunch of reminders because we would like people to get done with maintenance as quickly as they can so that when we have to go pester people at the end of March, that we will have fewer people. But yeah, maintenance is ready to go. You'll see checklists on Judge Apps. You'll get some emails. We hope everybody will find success in this process. And then I have another announcement. Toby has things to talk about the store.
Well, I think Rob already covered this. We have a new schedule rolling out, and the store should be live after this board meeting, ready to buy stuff. Orders will close, I think, February 1st, and then stuff should be in people's hands by mid-February.
Awesome. Thanks, Toby. That's everything I had on the list for announcements. Does anyone have any other business for today's meeting? Looks like no. So that's the end of the January 2025 Judge Foundry board meeting. Thanks everybody for tuning in, checking us out on the YouTube channel. We'll get all those minutes that we approved and everything up on the website soon. Look forward to the store, maintenance, project grants, all of those things we talked about. Excited to begin 2025 and hope everybody's still excited to do judge things, and we'll see y'all at events soon. Y'all have a good evening. Thanks.